I went out tonight. I partook in libations. And at one of the bars I was at, there was this guy who was just my type. 6 feet tall, living, breathing. And so I strike up a conversation with him. And he's wearing a Survivor Token Chains t-shirt. I was like, I love the Token Chains because I find Coach to be very mesmerizing. And he was like, dude, Token Chains is great, but I love in season 20 when Coach gets Tyson to vote himself out. And I was like, well, season 20 is the best season by far, heroes versus villains. I'm gingerly touching his forearms.
It's assault. That is assault.
Oh wow, that is just a classic meet cute for a love story. Two people bonding over their love of crappy reality television. It is truly a beautiful sight to behold. Now, I'm of the firm opinion that Survivor did a massive tactical nuking on television itself. What was once a quaint phenomenon is pretty much turned into the lifeblood of your typical modern woman. All you do is get a bunch of attractive people, throw them on an island, and then record them arguing and complaining, and all of a sudden you're making millions of dollars. But it also had the added consequence of modern women using it as an excuse to not have lives. Now, I can't vouch for every self-respecting man out there, but I like to think that we have better ways to waste our lives than watch reality television. It's bland, lifeless, and really contributes nothing to the world. Wait a second. Bland, lifeless, and contributes nothing to the world? Well, gee whiz, no wonder modern women identify with that crap so much. It just goes to show that modern women can surprise you in some of the most depressing ways possible.
This is flirting, this is banter, this is giving me fanny flutters. And then all of a sudden he's like, I gotta be honest with you, this isn't my t-shirt. I stole it from my boyfriend, Scott. Scott, come here, this girl likes Survivor. And then Scott came over. And I was like, oh, he's gay. And I looked around and I realized I'm in a gay bar. I was in a gay bar. So, guess who's not getting her torch lit tonight?
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Ah, woman, jeepers. Don't you think your gonorrhea torch has done enough damage as it is? It really doesn't need to be relit. And it's awfully funny how you find a 6-foot man who's muscular and into reality television, and the thought of him batting for the other team never once crossed your mind. Now, I'm not about to make fun of you for walking into a gay bar and not realizing it. This isn't Police Academy. It's not like they make it obvious anymore. But what I do find interesting is how you think you're going to meet a top quality guy at a freaking bar. Now, there may have been some moderate success in doing this a while back ago, but nowadays it's really not going to work anymore. Modern women need alcohol more than they need oxygen or to have food delivered to them through DoorDash. Self-respecting men really don't go to the bars to pick up chicks. It's kind of a fool's errand in that regard. But that doesn't stop modern women who treat the bars as a living embodiment of the definition of insanity. They keep going and they keep drinking and expecting something different to happen. Well, trust me, sister, something is bound to happen. It's called cirrhosis of the liver. You'll find out about it soon enough.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
I'm on a date right now, and we're going over celebrity crushes. And he just told me one of his celebrity crushes is Jessica Alba. And I was like, okay, perfect. Mine is Annalie Choppa, and he didn't know who that was, so I'm pulling up pictures, and I'm like, okay, I get a pass for him. He's like, no, you don't. I'm like, you would get a pass for Jessica? Like, what in the world? He's like, I wouldn't do that. Why in the world in what world would he be in the same room as her and have the opportunity to and not do that? Like, I would be mad. Okay, a celebrity that doesn't have herpes.
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it?
No, I wasn't raised like that.
Halle Berry
No.
is in the room and you're not doing it.
No, if we're married, not a chance. If we're...
What if I tell you it's okay?
No, it's not okay.
Right on, brother, I hear you. Man, I hear you.
You know what, I'm just gonna flat out say it. The concept of the celebrity crush to the modern woman is just completely dumb. Don't get me wrong, we've all had a celebrity crush at one point or another. Hell, I'm not ashamed to admit that I had a thing for Mila Kunis back in the day before she got involved in that whole human trafficking thing on Minecraft. But modern women took the celebrity crush thing to the absolute extreme where they think that they are justified in cheating on their significant other if it means that they get to sleep with a hot guy who's also famous. It's just their way of saying that there is a limit to her loyalty, and it all depends depends on how rich and famous the guy is. But this woman takes it one step further because she can't comprehend why men don't think that way. I mean, she gave this guy a look as if he just told her that he ate barbecue dog while on a business trip to Cambodia. She cannot comprehend the idea that self-respecting men have unfaltering loyalty to the people they care about, and that she is entitled to a hall pass if she ever has a chance for a celebrity to play with their spunk portal of unwavering woe. Which just goes to show, modern women just can't be trusted because their loyalty will always be for sale.
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
The single most powerful relationship dynamic on this planet is a woman who's kind of mean to her husband, and her husband loves that shit. And listen, there are a lot of good relationship dynamics. I'm sure plenty of other personality combinations are great together. But when you get that Meg and Hercules dynamic going, like, untouchable. And those two will be happy for the rest of their lives.
Man, that's just mean. That's mean, man.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that the strongest relationship dynamic is between a woman who is verbally abusive to her significant other and the simp that she leeches off of. I mean, let's not mince words here. This is what it is. It's verbal abuse towards a man, and you're saying that's the strongest relationship dynamic. That really makes no sense. When a modern woman is verbally abusive towards her man and the man just sits there and takes it, it ends up breaking him down and makes his life a living hell. And honestly, the only thing we need to do to prove this is to flip the script in the genders and say that the man is being mean towards his wife and his wife secretly loves it, and then all of a sudden you'll be whistling a different tune and advocating for the police to get involved because, well, let's just be real here. When a man does it, that's when it's unforgivable. Now, we're not talking about playful banter. That's a completely different thing altogether. You are talking about women who are mean to the people they allegedly care about, and that's not gonna fly with a self-respecting man, sister, because men have better things to do than be disrespected by the woman who claims to be loyal to him.
You know that. Of course I do, sir. Everybody knows that. Of course we do, sir.
If y'all are looking for a sign to cut off your toxic situationship, I'll tell you right now, don't. I'm fucking bored as shit. There was no good in that. Self-respect, I don't give a fuck. Text me, ho! I know you're thinking about me!
I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now.
Well, golly gee willikers, woman, maybe you should have thought about that before entering into yet another situationship. Now, part of me gets it. Your life is so boring that you think ordering out for Chick-fil-A is somehow an exotic dinner, but let's just be real here. That guy is not thinking about you. He doesn't have to. If you've entered into a situationship with a guy, odds are he probably has some chicks on the side because he never took you seriously. I mean, why should he? There's nothing to take serious. You're ranting and raving on freaking TikTok because you're bored and you want this guy to pork you. This is the ultimate end result of what happens with things like this. She has been warped so much that she doesn't even know what to do with herself, and she's slowly descending into madness because the guy she wants doesn't want her back, not even in the carnal sense. And we're seeing this more often than not with modern women. They are so deranged that they cannot maintain a relationship even if they could have one, so they're gonna fall back on situationships because at the end of the day, it's the only way they're able to feel anything. And the sad part is, we're going to be seeing a hell of a lot more of this as time goes on.
Well, you have to admit, she is rather mannish.
Hello there, gentlemen and gents. I am Dougie, Locke the Bounty Hunter's personal AI-generated emergency YouTube copyright protection voice program. It seems that YouTube is up to their old tricks once again, and I am being brought forth to protect Locke from his deadliest foe, world copyright law, which is just as frustrating for me as it is for him. So now I'm forced to spend my time playing Stratego with Locke as he tells me a story about how he used a freighter's worth of toothpicks to fool a bauxite smuggler into being apprehended and being turned in for a bounty of 897 space bucks after taxes.
I can see behind your shirt.
Lady, get serious for a second. You're a thought on the internet. You're not going to be able to attract a man no matter how many sandwiches you make, so leave the sandwich craft to people with dignity because I got bigger problems.
And now, a special television event.
Another day, another poorly ventilated courtroom. That's one of the many bounty hunters' mottos. Just another day of weak, lukewarm coffee and cheap paper cups, stuffy suits, and the knowledge that your next meal is going to be compliments of some malfunctioning vending machine, with your only prayer being that you have the exact change to get what you want. It's the only comfort a man can give himself when you're staring across the room at some emotionless egalitarian judge who lacks about as much humor as he does passion for space justice. It comes with the territory. At least that's what I told myself. It's kind of difficult to rationalize what's about to happen when your entire life is on the line. Everything I ever built and achieved over the years was about to go up in smoke. And when you're looking down the barrels of the litigation firing squad, you can't help but find yourself wondering where it all went wrong. So maybe I should start at the beginning. Well, I guess the story starts the same way any story deserves to start. At Skeeter's house. Skeeter just received a truckload of old toilets and bidets. Now, any self-respecting man knows if there's one thing he can always use, it's a free unlimited steak and a score of bidets. But as for the toilets, well, not so much. So he came to the natural conclusion that they would make perfect targets for Skeeter's new game. He'd figured out a way to perfectly balance a lawn dart with a hand grenade for optimal aerodynamics. So we were testing out his game and trying to blow up these toilets. He may have had no use for the toilets, but he could always use the porcelain. So there we were, blowing up toilets and trying to figure out how many million points a guy should get for a direct hit, when suddenly our lives were about to take a turn for the surreal as Skeeter's backyard became engulfed in a massive blue ball of plasma. But that wasn't the weird part. This kind of stuff happens at Skeeter's house all the time. No, the weird part was the dude who walked towards us. And I was about to chalk this up to yet another less than subtle invasion of planet Earth until I noticed that this guy was wearing an awesome camo pattern astronaut suit, and I immediately recognized the guy. It was the legendary Captain David Small. Now let me tell you something about this guy. This was a man who knew how to make all of the right moves. By his 18th birthday, he was already a best-selling author. Hell, his book, A Badass's Guide to Conquering the Market, is considered required reading for anybody who's looking to get into high finance, intergalactic space conquest, or opening up a really cool pizza shop. By the time he was 21, he already became one of the highest decorated star pilots of Sector Sigma. He took on the dreaded Yagorian Hell Armada with literally one hand tied behind his back. He didn't even have a reason. He just thought it was a good idea at the time. And when he came back, the mayor of the universe reinstated the intergalactic space penny just to have something to permanently mint his likeness. And the wins just kept coming for the guy. Thanks to his fame, he was able to land a gig as a spokesman for Sigma Corp, and thanks to his invention of non-alcoholic Kentucky bourbon, he rose up to the ranks and saved the universe yet again when he was elected president of the corporation. His first act of business was to call up Agamemnon Y. McNanners of the dreaded McNanners Corporation to usher in a truce under the guise that the universe was big enough for a little competition. And with that, the game was set and he brought some peace to the galaxy. And if that wasn't good enough, he also had one of the best handshakes in all of Sector Sigma, which is why I found it shocking that he was on planet Earth and looking for me. Apparently, he was taking a vacation when he went out on a date with a seemingly nice young lady, but he upped and left the second she started talking about her ex-biker boyfriend and only being able to give birth to gray space babies. Things were going great until he got served with the papers. Turns out this hussy gave birth to a gray-skinned alien space baby, and despite him having an ironclad alibi, DNA evidence, and about a baker's dozen worth of character witnesses, the judge is still ordering him to pay the woman $1 million worth of bauxite. Now, this man was richer than the dreams of avarice, but that was besides the point. He was going up against his worst possible enemy imaginable, the American court system. So naturally, I agreed to help. How could I not? This is the legendary Captain David Small. Nobody would turn down an opportunity like that. So we headed over to the courthouse in our kick-ass suits, and we were getting psyched for a good old-fashioned litigation showdown. We walked into the courtroom and took our seats. And outside of walking in with confidence, it kind of dawned upon me that we didn't have an actual plan for the court case. The legendary Captain David Small was a titan of industry, a philosopher of the cosmos, and knew how to make a mean pot of chili. But a lawyer he was most certainly not, and neither was I. But that didn't stop me from wanting to expand my horizons. The courtroom was a bit on the stuffy side, so I decided to pour myself a glass of water. But imagine my surprise when instead of getting a glass full of the elixir of life, the pitcher poured out some lukewarm sloth milk. And before I could say anything, the she-devil arrived and she was clutching a gray hatchling in an old fleece blanket. And when I took a look at her lawyer, everything fell into place. Cody. Apparently, Cody was able to convince his genetically enhanced army of Amish men to take the reins of his suspicious milk empire so he could learn how to practice American law by mail. And he took one look at me, smirked his smirk, and said that we were given a chance, and now we were about to be hammered down by the long arm of the law. We were in trouble, and we knew it. The court commenced and we were off to the races. Cody pulled out all of the stops. This bastard's opening argument was a sloppy loaf of English crap that was designed to make the jury of bitter 30-year-old single women weep for the poor lady while also despising us for being men. He had about 5 32-gigabyte flash drives full of TikTok videos of modern women complaining about how they don't have any babies, and then argued that this woman had a baby and that David needed to be a man and step up and take charge and give her $1 million worth of bauxite. And when it was our turn to take the stand, we knew we had our work cut out for us, when suddenly the courtroom doors burst open, and with an inexplicable amount of fog, 2 figures strolled in. A 4,000-year-old mummy and his trusty pooch. Hidan and Ampu had entered the tournament. Now, contrary to popular belief, Hidan is most certainly not an attorney, but Ampu was one of the most ruthless lawyers in the known universe. Cody started to quiver in his seat as Ampu dropped a scroll right on the judge's stand. The judge unrolled the parchment and immediately dismissed the case. Apparently, Cody was getting his law degree via the postal system, but he never used the proper postage. Therefore, his entire education was a waste and was deemed to be null and void. He was disbarred on the spot. And I don't know how that works, but hey, sometimes the justice system has to work in your favor. The mother immediately stood up in outrage and threw the baby down on the floor, and the second it made contact, it disintegrated into nothingness. That literal bastard was a hologram this whole time, and she took one look at us and then immediately started to change form. This sweet, seemingly kind librarian from Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas was actually a shapeshifter, and when she took her form, she revealed herself to be Katie, Cody's mysterious partner in crime. The pair looked at us and said this wasn't over and charged out of the courtroom with their tail between their legs. Now, it was great that we were able to take this as a win, but it completely sucked that now we had 2 milkmongers we had to deal with in the future. But hey, I guess you gotta take the wins as they come. We all headed back to Hidan's pyramid to play some Egyptian rules Texas Hold'em. We smoked some good cigars and celebrated the legendary Captain David Small's victory. Because if there's one thing we know, there is no chance we're ever going to let Cody win, no matter how dirty that prick plays. This thrilling installment of the Cody's Milk Saga was brought to you compliments of David Small, one of the top tier members of the Bounty Board over on Patreon. Good sir! I know I say it all the time, but it is an honor and a privilege to be able to create some content in your name, and thank you so much for your generosity and support. You are most definitely tops in the book of the Intergalactic Space God and the Magoma card. All hail! And truer words could not be spoken for all of the members of the Bounty Board for their continued support and generosity. Gentlemen and gents, it is absolutely fantastic and unbelievably cool that you are supporting my work as well. Thank you so much. All hail! And if you're interested in being part of the Cody's Milk Saga, check out the Bounty Board over on Patreon. I have a number of tiers for you to check out, starting at $5 a month. It's a great way to support the channel. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment down below. And of course, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like this video, share, leave comments, and if you've enjoyed this story, then I hope I've earned your subscription today.
I just got coffee with one of my girlfriends and she just told me a traumatic dating story. Holy fuck. She met this man in early September. They hit it off right away. They started dating. Like, everything was perfect. They made it official, established, boyfriend, girlfriend, exclusive. I consider my friend to have a very good judge of character. Like, she's very selective about who she dates. Like, on December 30th, on her birthday, she gets a DM from a girl on Instagram saying, "Are you dating Lewis?" I'm gonna call him Lewis.
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
If there's one thing that I do not appreciate of modern women, it's their complete hijacking of the English language. Everything is traumatic, everything causes PTSD, everything is toxic, and pretty much it boils down to anything bad that ends up happening to them. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not about to justify cheating in any way, shape, or form. It sucks, and you shouldn't do it. But at the same time, I don't see how anybody can be surprised at this point. The dating marketplace has been completely foobarred thanks to these broads. I mean, let's take a look at what's out there. You got creeps, you got perverts, and you also got Chad. He may be single, he might not be, but he's the most desirable option of the three because he's hot. The rest of the good men that these women are looking for have pretty much walked away years ago, and so they're left with the scraps. And the men who are looking to cheat know this. That's why they capitalize on a woman's emotion and pretend to be absolutely perfect. And even though this is happening more and more frequently, modern women are still shocked and appalled when it happens to them, even though this is the environment that they created for themselves.
Her heart drops. Within an hour, she's on the phone with this girl. This man, Lewis, went out of his way to download Bumble, matched with this girl, planned a date with her, and he told my friend, his girlfriend, 2 days in advance, premeditated this, told her he was going out to dinner with his friends. It was going to be a late night. He slept with this girl on the first date. On that Friday night, he slept with her, and then he went and hung out with his girlfriend, my friend, the next day, all day, slept with her. She leaves for the holidays. His girlfriend is away in Miami. He takes the other girl out 2 more times, out in public.
What? Woman, this story has more plot holes than your typical Disney Star Wars movie. I mean, I have absolutely no idea who in the hell you're talking about. You're using the term girlfriend to describe both women, and you're not being really clear on who he's porking, when he's porking, and who's going to Miami, and truth be told, I really couldn't care less. You're not even involved in this story. You heard it secondhand, and you're acting like it's happening to you. Which just means that you vicariously live your life through other people's relationships, so when they get hurt, you somehow get hurt as well. Now, your authenticity to this particular scenario is already being brought into question. You're saying that your so-called friend has a really good judge of character, yet at the same time, she slept with this guy on the first date. And then he ends up going to sleep with another person and then turns around to sleep with another person. You're not being very clear on this one, so I have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on here. All we know is that this guy, who may or may not exist, has been cheating on your friend, which is really not surprising. We hear this kind of stuff all the time. So could you please just be clear on what the hell it is you're talking about?
I don't know! I'm so confused anymore!
She gets suspicious. She sees my friend's name popping up on his phone, looks her up, finds a picture of them together, and that's how she found my friend. And get this, the girl that he cheated with is so similar to my friend. They're almost the exact same person. They have the same name, the same nickname. Like, what? My friend, she wholeheartedly trusted him. There were no red flags. She did not see any red flags. This was a complete shock.
Are you sure?
I don't see how your quote-unquote friend did not see any red flags when a modern woman's ick list rivals that of your typical communist country's tax law. So this forces me to believe that this guy was extremely handsome and probably had some money. After all, a man's looks in his pocketbook are more than enough to bypass any red flags that you claim that you are capable of seeing. And once again, this is a second-hand story. You have absolutely no idea what was happening behind the scenes. You just assume that everything was perfect and everything came straight out of nowhere, but odds are there were signs that he was being suspicious, but your friend's fifis will always overlook such trifles. Now, if this guy took the time to find a woman who looked like and sounded like and was pretty much a carbon copy of his girlfriend, that can either be incredibly creepy or your friend is just a carbon copy of a modern woman, and at this point, either one would be surprising. People are so screwed up right now that I really can't put it past them to just be copies of each other. It's really strange and surreal to see.
She calls him, FaceTimes him to confront him about this. He denies. Then he starts crying on FaceTime, hiding his face, not showing his face, can't even look her in the fucking eye. He had nothing to say for himself. They hang up. He sends her 2 manic texts about how he's such a bad person, and then they never speak again. He really was acting like the perfect boyfriend to her, meanwhile going out of his way to date someone else that's exactly like her with the same name. These men are sick. That is an illness. I consider that a mental illness. Like, where do they get the audacity, the boldness to just do this, to like cheat out in the open? Oh my God.
That's racist!
Well, the answer to that particular query is relatively simple. Modern dating has become nothing but an arms race of people just trying to cheat on each other. I mean, you only have so many dudes out there, and all the women want them, so yeah, those dudes pretty much get to control the dating market. Meanwhile, modern women go on TikTok and proudly proclaim that they cheat because it's their way of taking back their power, because apparently the only way to fight the patriarchy is on their backs with their legs spread wide. And thanks to the rise of hookup culture and the promiscuity of modern women, they think that having sex is somehow akin to having love, even though that's only a small part of what makes a relationship work. Combine that with a modern culture where boredom is one of the bedrocks, and yeah, you're gonna have yourself some crazy ass stories like this, but that's only if the story actually happened, and it wasn't some falsehood that your friend has created just to get some attention. Hope that clears it up for you, woman. There's no need to thank me. I'm always more than willing to lend a helping hand to alpha widows as they stumble their way through life to become a complete and utter failure. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and make sure to share this video so you can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, gentlemen and gents, and until next time, peace out, homies.